Hi, welcome to another video. Last time I did an intro to one of these was before Easter and I was feeling pretty down and pretty negative. Sorry about that. The situation as it is with the coronavirus is basically no one's fault, so there's not much we can do about it, just make the best of it. Work is really struggling because we've lost a heap of business. We don't qualify for the government support, sadly. So my department have been partially stood down. We're working we're working half time, so we're working 5 days a fortnight. So the rest of the time you have time off on leave, if you've got leave, which I do. So it means more time playing with this girl. So I've been making some, still slow, but for me, good progress. I've pulled out the wiring loom or the electrics. Been enjoying it, been learning a lot about the car, reading back through the workshop manual I've got over there, which has got a wiring diagram, which is extremely useful. I was pretty shocked by the wiring of this thing. Haven't played with wiring cars at all very much, particularly not this sort of age cars. And I was surprised how much of it's unfused. So between the battery and the alternator to the back of the fuse box, there's a lot of stuff that's on the unfused side, and I was personally surprised by that. I was very surprised to discover that the only connection between the battery and the alternator goes through the dash cluster. That just blew my mind. It makes sense when you think about it, because there's an amperage meter in the dash cluster, and the way it tells is by passing all the amps through the cluster. I assumed that there would be like a sensor somewhere else and there'd be a more direct way, but nope. Everything passes through right in front of you. I've also discovered that when this car got its new engine, because this engine wasn't the original engine, this came out of a ute, which I also own. But before I bought it, someone had put this engine in. They had it really finished, so there's like things that just confuse me because I don't know as much about cars as I should. Like the heater pipes went nowhere; they're just loose rubber hoses, and I was like, where are they supposed to go? So I had to work out where they would go on a car that had a heater originally. So the heater was in here, but this motor didn't have the heater component, so okay, got my head around that eventually. The vacuum booster for the brakes has a vacuum hose. Doesn't go anywhere, it just sits there, right? I won't tell where that went. Just bits and pieces like that. The back of the alternator has a couple of hose ends, what do you call them, where you plug a hose in, and I'm like, where do they go? And trying to work it out, and like, there are some hoses there for the washer unit, the window washer, which is also not in the car, and I was like, maybe, surely that doesn't have anything to do with the back of the alternator, that's not where the pump is or anything. Eventually, talked to one of my mates, that's an alternator from a diesel motor, so it's entirely wrong for this unit, and they have no purpose at all in a petrol motor. Okay, so that just confused me. So I've been learning quite a bit. I've been enjoying it. I'm slow. If somebody knew what they were doing would probably, and I'm also videoing, which makes it slower again. Somebody knew what they're doing would take it apart in no time at all. But part of the reason for doing this for me is to learn, to understand how this thing works and how cars work in general far better than I do. Wasn't that long ago, before I bought my Pajero, that to me the engine of a car was like this magical black box that I had no idea how it worked at all. You put petrol in and power came out and there was oil in there somewhere. When I was looking at Pajeros and four-wheel drives, which actually interest me, where my daily drive doesn't, I started studying it a bit and understanding how engines work to a degree, and then playing with this thing I'm getting much better handle on it, just by pulling these apart and trying to work it out. Putting it back together will be fun. So yeah, I'm going to keep cracking. My goal is to strip it down to the chassis and then get the chassis blasted and painted, and then start reassembling it as I go. As I think I've mentioned, I've got fiberglass panels and a fiberglass bonnet. At my parents' place in my collection I have a much better windscreen surround, so I'll probably be using that. I've got some front panel pieces. So there's only a few pieces of damage to the actual body that I'm worried about because I need to get them fixed. There's a bit of rust to the seat base. It's solid, but there's holes, and I'll talk to someone about whether that can be cut and welded or what happens there. And the back panel has me slightly worried. But again, you can buy those panels from Columbia, I think, and get it shipped down. So I can do that and get somebody to weld panels if I need to. So it is all repairable. I haven't come across anything yet that's like, oh, this car is doomed. I don't think I will. It's too good a nick for that. But there are things that I didn't realise I'd have to do. It's like, oh yeah, okay, I have to fix that. But it's going fairly well. Yeah, I'll keep chugging. Hey. Well, the good news is there's less rust here than I thought. That could be hiding under the hinges. The bad news is I broke off 2 of the screws.
slowly growing pile of panels and the slowly shrinking G60.